So welcome to the Quartz Cities sketchbook, or maybe it's more of an art book. I started this in 2019. In 2019, I had a really bad year. I was working full-time in a bakery with a really negative environment. I was just tired. I didn't really want to make paintings anymore. I just wanted to play in my sketchbook with no pressure, which was a perfectly fine decision. You don't have to make it a permanent decision. I didn't want to be a bad boss to myself, so I decided just to take a break and do sketchbook stuff that I wanted to do. Now, I was inspired by a different artist who actually makes huge, gigantic watercolor paintings that take years to finish. I kind of wanted to do that too, but I decided to use this sketchbook that my mother-in-law gave me as my surface. This was my one big, huge watercolor painting. I would put so much time into this, where I would never sell it probably. It would just be a project of, just determination and suffering for no end goal, like no end product. It was just making art for art's sake. So the theme was Quartz Cities. I was just going to paint really interesting buildings in the cities near where I live, as if they were embedded in quartz. Buildings I chose leaned into either like really interesting modern looks or heritage buildings and stuff like that. And I would, tour places on Google Maps or whatever and try to find interesting buildings to record. And I started with cities that were nearby. I did cities that I'd been to. I did cities that I haven't been to yet but are planning to. I did cities that house people that I know, cities that I see in YouTube videos. I just kind of tried to gather as many places as I could to fill up this whole sketchbook. Full disclosure, I did not use every single page. I did rip out a few in the back on days where I forgot to bring extra paper for other kinds of sketches and needed something to draw on. So I filled up most of it, but probably not exactly 100% of it, let's just say. It's more or less complete as I wanted it to be. The last few weeks I went off the rails and made up places instead. I was hoping that I would learn a lot about architectural trends or whatever, so I could maybe later on be able to draw buildings from imagination instead of, looking for the perfect thing all the time. So yeah, maybe a flip through of this book is less interesting because every page is very samey. This is the Montmartre sketchbook. I really loved it because it feels almost kind of cottony and soft in the pages, and it absorbs watercolor better than a lot of like the other cheap sketchbook, these hardbound ones, because sometimes I don't want to have a whole fancy watercolor sketchbook because I do a variety of things in sketchbooks. And so I've been really attracted to like the cheaper sketchbooks because the pressure is low and I can do whatever I want in them. And I think I might get this one again. It handles my watercolor adventures so much better than a lot of the other really cheap sketchbooks. I wish I could say that 3 years later everything is super peachy keen and I'm way above my expectations and blah blah blah, but no, a whole lot of nothing has happened in 3 years. I think that's kind of true for a lot of us, considering that 2 of those years were kind of locked down and not going anywhere, but things feel so much more peaceful now. My perspective feels healthier on this whole thing. Anyway, thanks for watching.